Welcome to Dads and Moms of Michigan. My name's John Langlois. A little bit about the organization. Dads and Moms of Michigan is a child advocacy organization that helps children by teaching their parents to not be silly when they're going through a divorce or separation. You know, parents all love their children and they all agree they want the best for their children, but in many cases they do things out of spite and vengeance when they're going through the separation process that is not good for the kids. Further compounding the situation is the family court uses a completely foreign language that nobody understands, and that exacerbates the problem. So Dads and Moms is a 501c3 nonprofit that helps parents navigate the binuclear world. That's both in home and in court. Today's session is basic family court procedures. It's understanding what the terminology is, how the process basically works, and some and how to behave in court, which is really, really important. People walk into court and they misbehave, and you only get, Jim Harbaugh talked about it when he took over the Michigan job, you only get one first impression. And if you walk in all PO'd because you're confused, and that's the first time that the judge or the referee or the family counselor gets to see you, it's really disastrous because, again, it's your first impression. So you don't want to walk in angry. So we try to provide educational services to co-parents. You've heard me use the word, binuclear parenting, and what is a binuclear family? And most of us who were raised by in an intact family, we had a mom and a dad, and they were together, and that was our nuclear family. When that divided, then you have a binuclear family, and the kids now have two worlds. That's where the problem comes in, because the kids having two worlds isn't healthy, because kids only have one world. Each of us only has one world. So we try to teach the parents on how to share the children's world and help nurture and help them mature. So today's topic is basic family court procedures. Originally our speaker was going to be Randy Pittler of Michigan Divorce Helper, but he had a family commitment come up. So one of his associates, and somebody that I've known for a few years, Brenda Murphy, is going to present this material. She, in a former life, used to work with Randy, but now she does something even more important, I believe. And so I'm going to turn the floor over to her and let her introduce herself. And Brenda, you can tell us what you're up to these days.
Thank you. My name is Brenda Murphy. I am a staff attorney for the Family Law Assistance Project. The Family Law Assistance Project is a partnership between Lakeshore Legal Aid and Cooley Law School. I supervise law students, and with my supervision they're allowed under a court rule to go into court and actually practice law. So at the end of the day it's all on me, but it goes under my P number, but they get the experience of arguing motions and conducting trials and actually being an attorney before they're an attorney. It's a legal aid. We have clinics at the law library every other Wednesday. It's income based, so if you meet the income requirements, then we can help you. We try to help you as much as we can at the law library, and then we can make a determination on whether or not we have any services we can provide you. That's about it as far as what I've been up to.
What's the requirements to get this legal assistance?
Well, you have to be low income.
How low?
How low? You have to be under 200% or over 200% poverty. I don't do that. I don't make the assessment.
Isn't it 2 times more than the poverty rate?
2 times more, so that would be 200%.
Here's a silly question though. What's the poverty rate?
I don't think it's changed much.
What is it?
I don't know. I have to look at a chart.
You have to look at a chart?
So
okay.
It's based on what your income is and how many people are in your family.
Okay.
So, and we actually have a computer program we just type it into, and it tells us whether or not you qualify.
Where's the law library at?
It's in the west wing of Oakland County Circuit Court. So second floor.
It's the executive west wing, as they call it.
Executive west.
It's the building to the right when you come in the north side.
Right.
So, for everybody that knows. So, you ready?
I am ready.
Basic family court procedures. What you need to know to prepare your day in court.
So the presentation starts as if you're going to be filing for divorce. So it starts with filing a new action. So what you need to do to get going is choose how you're going to proceed. You can proceed on your own. You can hire an attorney. You can that in order. So there's the law library, which we were just talking about. If you go to the second floor of the West Wing at Oakland County Circuit Court and talk to the librarian will direct you to a book. And you can read the book and you can copy the documents and you can fill them out. Or the law library also has computers, and you can use their computers to access MichiganLegalHelp.org. Oh.
I'm just adjusting the camera.
And MichiganLegalHelp.org is managed by the State Court Administrator's Office. So I don't get your company up here.
No, you're still going to have it. I'm coming back in a minute.
Okay. So, and it's, I always compare it to TurboTax. You go in, you put all your information in, and it prints out all of your documents from start to finish. And then, or you can pay for websites at like LegalZoom and whatnot, where they can also do it. There we go. Now that,
All right, sorry.
okay. So, now with LegalZoom, with Michigan Legal Help, that is Michigan specific. So, and it also has other things other than domestic relations. They have landlord-tenant stuff. That's all I can think of right now, and divorce and family law matters. Or there's attorney assisted, which is actually what Randy does with Michigan Divorce Helper, is he will prepare all of your documents for you for a minimal fee and give you step-by-step instructions on what you need to do in court, and then you can go off on your own. And then there's, of course, the other option of retaining an attorney, which just, when you retain an attorney, you have to pay a retainer fee, and in this area, they could range actually between $1,500 and probably $5,000 to get going, but they can be upwards of $15,000, and depending on the level of animosity and litigation in your case, you could be looking at a $100,000 divorce easily.
Or much, much more in some of the worst case scenarios.
100,000, yeah, and guaranteed, if you're looking at a $100,000 divorce, you're looking at a whole lot of post judgment issues too. So that's a divorce that's just going to keep paying.
And that's a good point. One of the great myths is people think that when you get a judgment of divorce, or if you've got a custody agreement, if there never was a marriage, that's the end of it. And it's not. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of the binuclear phase of your life. The children are going to have two homes, and the other myth is people believe that after the child turns 18, it's over. Well, that doesn't happen either, because you still got college graduation. They have children. Really, it's happened to me recently, and then you have a grandchild with your co-parent. So you're going to be there at birthday parties and first communions and bar mitzvahs, whatever you have in your world. This is going to go on forever. So binuclear parenting goes on until you die.
Right. I tell all of my clients that you may not be married, but you guys are in each other's lives forever. So
and people get married so they don't have to ever deal with the other party again. We've got one that came through supervised parenting time. They got 6 kids in between 3 and 12. 6. And the one got married so they never have to deal with the other one again. Bad news, because that's not what's going on.
Right.
So,
that's
ready?
crazy.
Click.
Okay. Yes. So to get your divorce started, you'll file some initial pleadings. You file a summons and complaint, a complaint for divorce. If you have children, you'll also file a verified statement. That's a front of the court document. It has personal information on it. So you may be hesitant to complete it, but it's not public information. It's just for front of the court purposes. Filing fees, when you file for divorce, a divorce with minor children is $230. Without minor children is $150. If you qualify, if you are on public assistance, or you can show the court that you're indigent, basically that you have more money going out than coming in, you may qualify for a fee waiver. And I put the document on there, or not the actual document, sorry, but what it is called, it's Form MC-20. So what that is you get it signed at the beginning of your action, and it only suspends your fees initially, and then you have to ask the court at the end to go ahead and suspend them altogether.
Is that being honored in Oakland County these days?
Yes, it is being honored. If it's public assistance, the court rules, according to the court rules, the judge has to sign it. It's not discretionary, but if you're showing that you're indigent, it becomes more discretionary on the judge whether or not to sign it.
I've had stories of people claiming that it was discretionary.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be. That doesn't
That's
mean,
why I asked,
yes, that doesn't mean that they aren't denying them, but they shouldn't be denied.
Ready?
So once you filed your initial complaint, you need to serve the other side. And serving the defendant, you can serve by personal service, which is hiring a process server to chase them down and hand the paperwork to. Or you can serve them by certified mail. It has to be certified mail, restricted delivery, and you have to get the green sheet back. So it's certified mail, restricted delivery, and there's one more thing that you have to check.
Can you do it personally?
Or you can do it personally.
Not
So,
recommended?
well, you're not, okay, so not technically under the court rule, not if you're a party to the case. Personal service has to be done by somebody who's at least 18 and competent. Now, having said that, on the proof of service, which is on the back of the summons and complaint, there's, at the very bottom, it says acknowledgement of service. If the other side is aware that you filed or that this is coming, they might just be willing to go ahead and sign that acknowledgement of service. So you can give them the documents theoretically at that point, and they'll just sign the acknowledgement of service, and they're considered served at that point. Oh, and I didn't put that. So when you file, the summons and complaint has two dates on it. It has the date you filed and the date it expires. And so what that means is if you do not serve the paperwork and file that proof of service with the court within 91 days, your case is dismissed. So if you haven't been able to serve and it's approaching the 91 days, then you need to go to the court and get an extension. Or if you've attempted service and it keeps coming back, then you have to file a motion and seek alternate service and ask the court's permission for another way to serve. I think I covered everything there. Oh, no, I didn't talk about answering. So sorry. Yeah. So if you are served, sorry if I'm making you dizzy there. If the complaint is personally served and the person is in the state of Michigan, they have 21 days to answer the complaint. And answering the complaint is just simply saying whether they admit or deny the allegations that are in the complaint. And I should back up. The allegations that are typically in a complaint, it's fact pleading. So it's what your names are, when you were married, that a person was authorized to conduct marriages, married you, that you have, whether or not you have children, where the children have resided and who they've resided with the past 5 years, whether or not the wife is pregnant, and there is the statutory requirement, which is that there's been a breakdown of the marriage to the extent that the objects of matrimony have been destroyed, and there remains no reasonable likelihood that the marriage can be saved. That has to also be in the complaint for divorce as
So
well.
a complaint for divorce is almost a form letter with a few variables, but they all look the same. And people say, "What's a complaint look like?" Here's one. So most anybody gave it some thought could look at 2 or 3 sample complaints and put their name in and the number of kids and where they live, like she said, and